on a winged avenger to deliver you from evil, aren't you, my friend?
Are you gonna kill me?
Maybe, maybe not. You could say we're of two minds on the subject. You a gambling man? Let's say we flip for it.
Of all the villains in the Batman canon, I would have to say that Two-Face is my favorite. As with many of the villains in the Batman universe, Two-Face's origin story can vary wildly between artists and writers. Which version you ascribe to, I will leave up to you. Whether from acid, fire, or explosion, the one consistency of Two-Face is his coin. But, as with his own origin story, Two-Face's coins can vary from style and type. So there's no one version of Two-Face's coin that's more or less correct than the others. For my own purposes, I went with the 1922 Peace Dollar, which is the version that can be seen in the Dark Knight films. In order to make the prop, the first thing that I had to do was create one half of the coin in TrueSpace 3. I then sunk one face in order to add details later, and then added the notches around the outside. The notch count isn't exactly correct, but they're spaced off enough in order for it to look right. From there, I had to find a reference photo for the coin itself. I was able to find a drawing online which helped out with later steps, and I had to painstakingly go over each and every detail of the coin face in order to make a printable normal map. Once both the 3D model and the normal map were created, I combined them in Blender in order to create a single 3D model. From there, I went on to print them. I then printed 2 copies of the coin face so that I could put them together using superglue. However, this turned out to be a mistake due to the fact that it got stuck to the base plate of my printer, and then the superglue itself didn't stick. This caused the prop to split and open along the sides. So I had to find a new way to do it. I then took the coin and printed it as a single entity with both sides already in place and supports for the print. I figured that removing those supports, if they caused any damage to one face of the coin, that face would be the damaged side of the coin anyway, and therefore it wouldn't be a problem in the long run. This actually turned out to work a lot better than printing 2 halves of the coin and trying to glue them together. Once the coins were completed and cured, I then put on a layer of base coat in white, and then I put a base coat of black. Having left the black base coat on, I then took some rub and buff and used that to create the shiny side of the coin. Now, in order to create the damaged side of the coin, I used the same rag with what was left of the rub and buff from the original side and just lightly scraped over the top of the darker side. This created a situation where the raised areas were brighter while the sunken in areas were dark. After this, in order to show damage to the front of the coin, I did use a knife in order to gouge out sections. Now, someone in the comments may state that it would be better to gouge the coin before it was painted rather than after. The reason why I put gouges in the surface of the coin after I painted it rather than before, thus removing paint, is because I didn't want to get rub and buff down inside those gouges. By doing that, it makes the weathering look a little bit off. So in order to make the weathering look better, what I did instead was I gouged the coin out and then put a wash on top, allowing the wash to dip down into those gouges to make the coin look as though it was damaged and then weathered over time. For my first movie prop, I'm actually proud about how it turned out. It's not screen accurate, it isn't a hero prop. But it does fill a small gap in the fact that if you ever need a coin to play Two-Face, it's a really easy way to make one. The rub and buff allows it to be shiny on one side, and then the black paint allows it to be dark on the other side, and both materials are robust enough not to wear off over time. The only downside is the coin itself is rather light. One of the reasons I wanted to print it in 2 halves was so that I could put something heavy in the middle. However, that can be alleviated if you made the coin a little bit wider, and then made the 3D print hollow, then you could insert something down inside there to give it a little bit of weight. Otherwise, I think it turned out great. The STL file for this will be available on Thingiverse. You can download it from there if you'd like to try to make your own or improve it. If you have any comments or suggestions or any ways to improve my painting skills or the way I make props, please let me know in the comments down below. And as always, feel free to subscribe, leave a like, and hit the bell to be informed when I make new videos or new props. And as always, I encourage all of you to go out and try to make your own props. Make something new, make something different. Make something somebody else made for practice. Doesn't matter what. Thank you for stopping by.